So you picked yourself up the RedMagic 6 or 6 Pro, and you're wondering, is it worth it to pick up this accessory? This is the RedMagic Dual Core Cooler, aka the RedMagic 6 Ice Dock. Let's do this!
Spectacular Gadgets.
What's going on, everyone? It's Tay with Spectacular Gadgets. Let's first start off with the cost of this accessory. This will cost you $43.90 from the RedMagic website. This features dual fans, clip-on automatic activation, and RGB lights. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging. RedMagic Dual Core Cooler. And as you see, there's a picture of the cooler on the box, and it looks pretty cool. You got some color changing there. Inside of the box, they include a user manual. One side is in Chinese, and if you turn it over, the other side is in English. The next thing we have is a Type-C to Type-C power cable. This has to be plugged in order for it to work. And lastly, we have the cooler. So this thing does have weight to it, but it looks pretty cool. You'll notice the dual fans. Here's where you'll plug it in at the bottom with that cable. Let's continue to go ahead and take a look. So you'll notice all around this cooler there's plenty of ventilation. Pull on the top and bottom in order to get the device in, and the underside is obviously the side that will go against the device. What I'm making sure now is that the shoulder triggers are sitting at the top, so I want to go ahead and make sure that I'll have access to the shoulder triggers, as well as making sure the Type-C port is facing towards the bottom. The 6 Pro already has weight to it. The cooler is adding additional weight, so keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying this. Now to plug it in to see what the fans feel like, how the RGB looks like, as well as how loud the fans are. I feel a little warm heat coming off the top, and towards the sides of the fan I do feel cool air. I find that a lot of people do not take a look at the user manual, but in this instance I wanted to take a look because in that user manual there were some QR codes. There were actually 3 QR codes in order to get an app so that you can change the speeds and the colors and the type of motion and effect that the RGB lights have. So this is where the fun started. So I started on the English side and I took this QR code and I scanned it with the device. After scanning the QR code, it came up with this link. I selected open website, I'll use Chrome browser, and it came up with this for some reason. So I tried the second QR code. After scanning the second QR code, it gave me this link. I hit open website using the Chrome browser, and it came up with this for some reason. Now on to the third QR code, and it's on the Chinese instruction side. So I scanned that code and it came with this link. So I said open website. So I'll use Chrome browser to open, and then it came up with this. Nothing. I was able to download it on last year's RedMagic 5G. And so it looks like this. You'll have to go ahead and hit continue and give it some permissions. Also make sure that your Bluetooth is toggled on. When you select the cooler that you have, you can go ahead and start changing some of the settings. So here I'm turning the fan off, I'm turning the fan back on, and then I'm turning it to auto. So it comes by default to auto, and auto is simply just when you open up the clamps and put the phone in, it'll automatically start the fan. The next setting is probably the most important setting, and that is the speed of the fan. Down here is the version of the software. Above that is more settings for the RGB lights. So I can't read Chinese, so I'm going to go ahead and use Google Translate to go ahead and see what all this is saying. Give it a quick second to let it work its magic, and then there you have it. It's giving us what it is in English. So it looks like it's just different effects. And at the bottom here, if you take a look, also different ways that it will show the RGB light. I have the cooler back on the device, and honestly, I'm not quite sure if it's worth downloading the app. The only thing that I did take away from it is being able to increase the fan speed. Honestly, other than that, I wouldn't waste time trying to download the app. Here I am playing my first game using the cooler, and I do feel a little bit of the air coming off the sides onto my fingertips. I also want to note that there is vibration with the fan, so you do feel some slight vibration, and the fact that I do have it on the highest fan speed, you are going to feel that. We haven't discussed temperature, so let's go ahead and start doing a few temperature checks. The outside of the fan, 77.5. The inside, we have 41.5. This is in Fahrenheit, guys, so the outside is putting in some work, but the inside remains cool as it should. This is what's cooling down the device. So with the fan on and the device right now, it's at 83.5, 84. So let's see. We're getting 83, around 83.5. We need a sense of time, so let's do a TT. So temperature and time check. Now we're at 81, so check that out. So remember the time, and I'm going to go ahead and play a game. I'm going to play the game all the way through, but I'm not going to have you sit through that. And once the game is over, I'll go ahead and check the temperature again. Cool, so we won that game, and now it's time to do a time check. It is 5:21 p.m. Now we have to go ahead and check out the temperature. We have the temperature of around 83 is what we're getting, 84, 85, so we're still in the 80s. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the case and see if that makes a difference. There is a huge hole in the back of the case, but let's just see, let's be fair. And I'll go ahead, take the temperature of it so you can see. We're 83, 82. So let me get this, let's say 84.5. Let's go ahead and take a check on the cooler. On the inside, we have 45. Now let's see what the device is reading. We have 81, 82.5. Here are the settings. I am actually using super performance. So I'll go ahead and play a full game again, and I'll come back once the game is finished so we can do a temperature check. Temperature check time, and we're at 78 right here in this area, 81, 83. So it did go down a little bit with me playing. It just takes a little time. This temperature represents me leaving the fan on as well as the device on for about 45 minutes. I wasn't playing the game or anything, but I did leave the game running. The RedMagic ice cooler is a pretty neat gadget. What I want to show you is the temperature again, 71.5. Now the device wasn't in use, it was actually just on idle. But what I want to show you here is, check that out. The device is actually shutting off. Why is it shutting off, you may ask? Well, it depends on where you place the cooler on the device. My guess is that RedMagic tried to incorporate the power and volume keys when designing this dual core cooler. And I say this because I noticed two slits on the top and bottom of the clamps. It's a great idea, but a bad execution. Let me go ahead and remove the phone so that hopefully you can see the little slits that I'm talking about on the clamp. So if I can show you, see this where my finger is? This part is open, it doesn't have cushion. This helps with making sure the buttons don't get pushed. But like I said, the cooler tends to slide while you're playing, and I tend to actually use it not over the buttons at all. So this just shows you that it does matter where you place the cooler on the device. I like this little gadget because it does give you some refreshing cool air while you're playing. This device without the case is pretty slippery and it does tend to warm up, so I think that it does serve its purpose. It may not be the fastest and get the iciest, but it does cool down the device as well as your hands. Let me know in the comments if you're going to still pick one up or why you're not going to. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to chill with me as we go through this journey. And until next time, everyone, I want you all to have a spectacular day. Later.